Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, April 1st, 2016. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. The Argyle International Airport is within touching distance of completion. So says Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves during a media briefing at the IADC earlier today. Dr. Gonsalves pointed out that works including pavement and drainage, as well as the installation of a perimeter fence, remains to be done, and that the Argyle International Airport should be completed by the end of June of this year. Dr. Gonsalves says the project suffered several delays due to technical and unforeseen events, but it is now almost completed. According to the Prime Minister, he is grateful to all entities, governments and organizations, both locally, regionally and internationally, who played a role in getting the project this far.
Yet again, our appreciation for the governments which have assisted us thus far in working in partnership with us, the persons who have had their properties here, and for all the support they have given to us, all the workers from the Chateau Chez Chavez contingent, including especially the Cuban workers because they are our guests, for the tremendous work that they have done, and for all who have been involved in the IADC. We are at the stage where the naysayers would see that something which had been just a dream is within touching distance to become a reality, and we are taking all the steps to put it in a functional manner.
Also speaking at the media briefing was CEO of the SVG Tourism Authority, Glenn Beach, who says several airlines continue to show great interest in making SVG one of their destinations, and the authority is working closely with them in providing technical information. Beach further states that they are looking at various marketing tools such as tagged flights with other Caribbean islands, which would be beneficial not only to the airlines but also to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Looking at that also to see what direction is best for us and also for the airline. Obviously, if we do a tagged flight, it minimizes the what we have to put in with the airlines, because it would be joint in terms of revenue guarantee and marketing funds. So we're looking at the best things that would suit St. Vincent and the Grenadines to get these airlines in. The interest is there. We're just waiting for the go-ahead to make sure that everything is set, and as I've told the airlines, it's of benefit to them, because it'll be whoever gets into St. Vincent and the Grenadines first are the ones that are going to benefit hugely. Those that have run their numbers have been very pleased with what they've seen and what they project will be a very successful relationship between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and themselves.
Following the media briefing, Engineer Romel Oliver, who has responsibility for the landside facilities, gave members of the media a tour of the terminal building of the Argyle International Airport.
You dropped off into your departure. Your departure, checking counters, and back behind here, position, and just behind the checking counters where you have your channel system. You collect the belt, takes your bags out into the screening area, from screening out into baggage maker. Behind this wall, behind the baggage handling system, this is where the airlines will have the offices. There's some spaces for airline offices, and also that go to your right, airline offices that side as well. Then you come through to secure departure, and this is basically immigration filling space. There are 2 immigration booths with 6 positions. These booths are, as you can see, very the highest quality material. I mean, this is 3/4 inch thick granite and stainless steel. After you pass immigration, we are going to security checkpoints. As you can see, all the equipment is here. Equipment is already in place. The scanners are in. These are scanners. The security here in the departure lounge. And the departure lounge basically has 2 areas. There's a small holding lounge on the ground floor, which is where we have these 3 gates that are used to board your narrow aircraft, the ATR and the dash gates, the aircraft that you board from the ground in total. So what we have done, we have divided into 4 different lobbies, 4 areas. When you come up here, this space again is like a reception area, a lobby. General area. So there will be an officer here, a receptionist right here, or a protocol officer that will escort you to the lounge which you're supposed to be in. And the one for heads of states and the one for diplomats. The protocol room, where the protocol officer there will escort the persons to the lounge they're supposed to be in. And these 2 lounges, these ones to my right and to the back here, these are available for private companies, corporations who would like to offer a service to their passengers. Down this side, office for airport administration. Mentioned this morning, you would see that we started the job of now furnishing these offices. This one is customs. Quarantine room and the contamination when if someone is coming sick, then you can quarantine them without having to push them through the areas of the top.
As part of efforts to ensure sustainable living for Vincentian workers, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Wages Council was launched yesterday to perform an effective regulation of the remuneration of workers in certain trades and industries, especially the majority of workers who are not represented by a trade union. Speaking at the launching ceremony, Chairman of the National Wages Council, Lloyd Small, noted that while much is expected of the Council, one must consider the social and economic issues faced by the entity in tackling the fixing of the minimum wage.
Employers and workers' expectation of us is to be fair and reasonable in our deliberation. And with the final wages proposal sent to government, we must be able to have a win-win situation between the tripartite grouping. We'll be engaged in detailed investigation and vigorous discussions and consultations and sensitive dialogue with the employers and members of the working population and other stakeholders who may have peripheral interests regarding desirability of attaining and maintaining high levels of employment in the state. All discussions and consultations throughout the state during the next 4 months or more to solicit the views and opportunities of all Vincentians, especially the needs of workers and their families and the general level of wages throughout the country.
Small also made an appeal to the government and other stakeholders, such as the Public Service Union, to ensure that the proper mechanisms are in place and are followed so that the fixes will be implemented.
When we set the minimum wages for the various category of workers, what is important is compliance. And for you to have compliance, you must strengthen the Department of Labor in terms of administration, in terms of its inspection, and in terms of its resolutions and mediation process. So I'm calling on the government to look into that as soon as we have set up the wages and fix the wages or review the wages. What we are seeing is that we have a wage price spiral. In other words, prices goes up as wages are increased. So therefore we have to be cautious. So the tripartite arrangement that we have, we must have serious dialogue so that we could maintain inflation at a certain level. In other words, cancel out the wages increases that workers may receive after this exercise.
Noting that the Wages Council is part of the government's intervention to improve the standings, the security and the success of all workers, Minister of Labour Camilo Gonsalves outlined the work being done by his ministry to coincide with that by the Wages Council. He further added that all stakeholders must work together to ensure greater coverage for all workers, especially those who are vulnerable, as well as ensuring proper enforcement mechanisms.
I anticipate that this Wages Council will be frank, will be robust, but will be respectful, and that we will go forward with the common goal of doing right by the employees of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and doing right by our nation. The government must create an environment and regulatory framework for the creation of quality jobs and decent pay. Employers must adhere to those laws and regulations, embrace innovation, and treat their employees as valued, indispensable partners in shared growth. And workers must recommit to to excellence and effort in the pursuit of a boost in productivity and, of course, our nation's well-being.
Meanwhile, Director of the Wages Institute of Research and Education, Joseph Burns-Bernardi, commended the Wages Council initiative, noting that it will aid in addressing a number of issues faced by workers, especially where they face unfair treatment by their employers. He further noted that while a great deal will be expected of the Council, it must be understood that wage increase can only come through proper informed and constructive negotiation.
You know what has happened in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Is that our rate of inflation is very low. Very low. And the trade unions are being called upon by persons without any measure of information and authority to go for wage increases which are extremely high to satisfy somebody's own commitment. But in truth and in fact, in this modern day and age, you negotiate on the basis of information and you have to justify what you're asking for. So in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we do not have an industrial relations bill like in a number of other countries, but we have been able to operate on the basis of a gentleman's agreement. That's how we operated. Not that we don't want the bill. I understand one is pending, and we hope that the minister can push it forward so that we can put things on an even keel.
Opposition Member of Parliament for Central Kingstown and first Vice President of the New Democratic Party, Sinclair Leacock, says there will be no peace in this country if justice is not given. Leacock made this declaration on sister station Hits FM's Wake Up and Go Morning show this week as he discussed issues relating to the 2 election petitions before the court. The Central Kingston MP stated that the position taken by the opposition is being led by its president, Annie Eustace, and is a nationalist position.
We have taken up a position of the Democratic Party. We expect justice in this matter. And if we don't have justice, we're saying there will be no peace in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It means in all 15 constituencies, you will see our parliamentarians, our caretakers, taking initiatives to struggle for the democracy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and for free and fair elections in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that meets international standards. And so there will be protests in all forms and fashion in all 15 constituencies. Well, the NDP is saying it's going to roll up its sleeves. We have sat, we have discussed this, we have had long discussions in it, and we have a determination.
You know the next question that I'm going to ask.
Sure.
Is Mr. Eustace aware of this? You know,
this has been led by Mr. Eustace.
Leacock expressed concern with what he said is a delay in a matter that should have been handled more speedily.
You can only apply for election petition within 21 days, which means that that body should know that it must bring out its report within 21 days. Now here you had in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the OAS came within 2 days, they could say what they thought. CARICOM could say what they thought within 2 days. OECS could say what they want to do. But our people had to take 3 months, even though they had written the Prime Minister to say that we didn't like what's going on.
And veteran lawyer Anthony Astafan is suggesting that the opposition New Democratic Party is trying to prejudice the court's proceeding as it relates to the election petitions which the party has filed against the government and the supervisor of elections. In an interview on radio this week, the attorney for the government says he is concerned that members of the NDP are trying to taint the decision before it is even made.
And seek to prejudice the court, or the prejudice of bring the court into public ridicule and contempt among the people of this country. Put it this way, more specifically their supporters, by trying to prejudge, by saying to the people of this country there's an overwhelming evidence of fraud, and therefore if the judge was to throw out the election petition, a grave injustice would have been caused. Well, I just think the timing of that stinks. I think for a man who wants to be Prime Minister, he's getting involved in that level of political debate and seeking to read what he says are court documents before the court on radio and television and showing them out is not the sort of conduct and behavior of somebody who respects the separation of powers, who respects the functions of and independence and impartiality of the court.
Astafan is of the view that the NDP leader in his recent televised and radio address where he outlined some of the evidence in the case was being disrespectful to the legal system, and reiterated that various observer missions have already stated that the December 2015 general elections reflected the will of the people.
Complaining about fraud, but the observers from the CARICOM community said it saw no such instances in Wednesday's election.
Right.
The mission's assessment of the day's activities is that the voters were able to cast their ballots without intimidation or harassment, and that the results of the election reflect the will of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
That's right.
Chief of Mission Gaspar Baptist said in a preliminary statement issued Wednesday. The Commonwealth Secretariat people said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They not only commended the supervisor of elections for conducting the matter professionally. They said, based on our observation and exchange with a broad range of stakeholders, which always include members of the opposition, that's my introduction, since our arrival, our preliminary conclusion is that the election was generally peaceful and fairly well conducted.
Corporal Sian Shoyle of the Information Technology Department of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force has expressed concern with the rise of cyberbullying here in SVG. Speaking to SVG-TV News, Corporal Shoyle congratulated the students of the Georgetown Secondary School for raising awareness on the issue and said that his department will be embarking on an education awareness drive soon.
And to educate the person within to desist from posting. This is the major problem that we get at the IT department, of illegal messages via emails or anything. Even the live chat rooms, as in WhatsApp, we get those problems. And we work in, hastily in terms of getting to educate. We're having a driver program to go around schools to educate them along that drive. And as we all know, cyberbullying really, it's on the rise here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we know cyberbullying identity it's really a willful act in terms of true network.
Corporal Shoyle says there is a piece of legislation in place that protects victims and prosecutes perpetrators of cybercrimes and encourage persons to report these matters.
In the volume 5 of the revised edition, chapter 145, the Election and Transaction Act covers all of that, the offenses, cyberbullying including that, because cybercrime is not one crime, it's spread out. Fraud, cyberstalking, cyberbullying, child pornography, so there's a lot. So we just identify that there's a crime that are being committed at that time, and the laws in place. Presently it's before the DPP in terms of that it's soon as it already enacts, it's just to proclaim as in to go ahead to prosecute person on that end. So at any time just come at the criminal investigation department or the IT department, we are looking at the IT CID, just come there. Any one of the staff, Sergeant Jacobs, Constable Duncan or Brown, will assist you if I'm not there.
In the next story coming up, please be aware that some of the video that we are going to show you might be a little graphic for some persons, so just be minded. 3 persons were arrested on Wednesday of this week for being in possession of marine turtle meat at the Bible Bay. The 3 are Raymond Richardson, Ivan John, and Andrew Simon. The Fisheries Act number 8 of 1986, chapter 59, part 4, section 17(2)(e) on the Fisheries Conservation Measure states that no person shall take, sell, purchase, or have in his or her possession any turtle or part thereof during the close season for that species of turtle. The close season is from March 1st to July 31st. The 3 appeared at the Magistrates Court in Bible on Friday, April 1st. Persons are reminded that it is against the law to have in their possession turtles or any part thereof during the closed season. Long Live Calypso is the title of a Calypso-centered show scheduled to take place here tomorrow night at the Octagon. Member of the production team, Bomani Charles, told SVG-TV News it will be a fun-filled night featuring a number of local and regional Calypsonians who all share a passion for the musical genre.
We
be bringing you a live Calypso event on Saturday, April 2nd at the Octagon called Long Live Kai. So this is to provide a stage for lovers of Calypso music in its traditional forms and its non-traditional forms to come out and have a great time with some excellent entertainers, both from St. Vincent and the Grenadines and from across the region. I think it would serve as an inspiration for younger Calypsonians who would like to see some of the masters do it. Of course, we're inviting all lovers of Calypso and all lovers of great entertainment generally to come out and have a great time, because you'll be thoroughly entertained. We'll be having a live band, of course, the Calypso College Band with brass and excellent vocal performers of the genre.
Calypsonians Crystal Cummings-Beckles of Barbados and Michael Osuni of Trinidad, who will be performing at the event, say they are thankful for the opportunity to perform here and urge Vincentians of all ages to come out, support and enjoy the event.
Would like you guys to come on and support us as we render our material for you and show you what real Calypso is. I think that this is a fantastic opportunity to be performing outside of season. So getting a taste of what is to come and what we did in the past would be fantastic.
I'm here to entertain the general public. We are asking the whole of St. Vincent and possibly Grenadines if they can come over. We have space for everybody. But it's going to be a night of what we should call spectacular. A spectacular night. This is something that has been long planned, well put together. We are inviting everyone to come out and have a splendid time. And this is not just for no specific age group. We are catering for the young and the not so young at heart. Come out and enjoy yourself. But we promise you a gala night.
Under the theme, Blessed is the Nation whose God is the Lord, the SVG Digital Gospel Fest will open this Sunday, the 3rd of April 2016 at the Victoria Park. This is the 14th year that the Christian faith-based event will be held, and coordinator Michael Peters says the theme corresponds with the need for God to be the center of the nation.
The SVG Gospel Fest Committee sees the need for St. Vincent and the Grenadines to really put God first. Our country has a tremendous amount of challenges. We are politically divided, the crime situation, economic challenges, and we believe that if we do as our constitution says, a country that is founded on the belief in God, we certainly would see a way out of the problems that we are facing. It follows from last year's theme, which was restoring the land for God. And we believe that any nation whose God is the Lord certainly is a blessed nation. So we are putting St. Vincent and the Grenadines, declaring St. Vincent and the Grenadines for God in 2016.
The Gospel Fest coordinator outlined the cast for the month-long event, which includes local, regional and international artists. He says the opening event will commence at 6 p.m. with a $20 entrance fee. Peters, however, noted that children under the age of 12 will be free.
We have top local gospel artists such as Stacey Little, Eldon Morris, Chad Durant, Azaria Gibson. We also have dance groups such as GTT dancers and Triumph Covenant dancers as well. And they are complemented with international gospel artists such as Evangelist Wendy Mitchell, Pastor Shirley Simpson of Canada, and Blessed Messenger of Trinidad and Tobago. We also have the Ministry of the Word that will be done by Reverend Adolph Davis of the Kingstown Methodist Church. So it really is going to be a tremendous evening of praise at the Victoria Park. And the great thing about it is that its Gospel Fest has always been promoted as a family event.
Addresses will come from the new Minister of Ecclesiastical Affairs, Jimmy Prince, Chairman of the Gospel Fest Committee, Fidel Taylor, a representative of sponsor Digicel, with the Minister of Culture, Cecil Mackey, officially declaring the festival open. Meanwhile, the Beckway Gospel Showcase scheduled for this Saturday night has had to be postponed and will now take place on Saturday the 30th April at the Clive Tannis playing field. The Gospel Fest Committee says that mitigating circumstances did not allow for the staging of the show.